Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Markus Groissböck. I'm from Fichtner, a German small engineering company, and I'm proud to present today a real project out of Namibia. And to get the first impression about it, let's see a brief movie. As you could see, that's another real project out in Namibia. So if the next time someone talks about Namibian project, also to remember Daures Green Hydrogen Village is already being realized. And as such, in the next 12 minutes, I will talk about what we have done in the last some months and years to bring it where it is today. First of all, I have to make a small disclaimer. I'm representing instead of the Daures project team. We are Fichtner, we are an independent engineering house, and our role is and was owner's engineering. So I don't think I have to spend too much time on what the future could look like. A lot of people did do that already. What I do think is important to talk about where hydrogen should come from, and from our perspective, there is one important detail to be considered in transportation, avoiding some kind of channels, which are always in discussions. The Panama Channel is lack of water because of seasonal issues. The Suez Channel has some regional implications and problems. And as such, Africa, South Africa especially, has a very unique position to serve Europe and Asia. Very brief about the project. Currently, the pilot, as we have seen in the video, is being constructed. So the equipment for the green ammonia synthesis will be shipped in the next days. It's planned to have commissioning in a month or so, and then having the first green ammonia out of Namibia. At the end of the day, we do talk about around about 1 million tons of ammonia as a potential, and I will talk about little what it means in terms of sizing in the next slides. As mentioned, the pilot is small scale. It's to do with building local resources, showing the world Namibia can not only talk about something, they also can do something. and as such the pilot is used for that, and also for train the first people to have them on site for the first development of the larger phases. Recap of the pictures, we have seen that since more than a year now construction is going on. They have already a PV site there. They have a wind farm just under construction. Next month, as mentioned, the electrolyzer and ammoniac will be there. And also on the right side, you see the glass houses, the greenhouses. So the use here is planned for green ammonia, such as tomatoes. And we have seen in the presentation before, 2% premium for using green hydrogen. I think it's worth to do it, and also shows it can be done locally. What is very special and important for the project is the local roots. And the picture here shows the Namibian president with the chief of the authority. And unlike other projects where international people come to a country, develop a project, and one or another way, this is really out of Namibia, driven by Namibians, and we are lucky to support it as owner's engineer. So we have done a pre-feasibility studies in the last weeks and months, and there are several topics which are typically done, but there are also some special details I want to share. The first one is a very common one, to assess which kind of energy carrier transportation should be considered in the project. We have 3 locations. There's Walvis Bay, there is 100 kilometers away the water resource, and there's around about 200 kilometers away the renewable sites. So what to transport or transfer? Is it electrons? Is it hydrogen, ammonia, and which carrier? This was the first step to make to assess the scalability of the project. Next, a very untypical assessment was done. Unlike other projects like Hyphen, which is in the south of Chile, where they have really excellent wind locations and start as a main resource. Daures has an excellent solar conditions, but average plus conditions on wind. And as such, we did assess which kind of wind turbine is the better ones. Historically, if you would talk about PPAs on grid, a lot of people would say, let's go biggest as possible, because the amount of energy is more important to be considered. What we found out is it's not the amount of energy, it's really the timing of it. And as such, we did assess 30 turbines from 2-something megawatts to 6 and a little, and found out that the 4 megawatt classes is the most suitable for the project and wind resources we have there. We also do a little difference in terms of PV wind hybridization. So we have a limitation on wind. So we have about 100 to 120 wind turbines possible to be placed. And in between, we do PV hybrids, PV plants. And as such, we are able then to have around about 500 megawatt on wind and between 6 and 8 gigawatt of PV, depending of if it's a tracker system, then it would be the 600, or if it's a fixed tilt system, it's the 800 megawatt peak to be expected. And we do see already PV cost is very good, as the resources are really world-class there. We also do see from the port of Walvis Bay, they are ready to start and ready to cooperate. In discussions, they are telling us or showing us they are ready for import with the jetty visible on that slide here, and within 18 to 24 months, they also would be ready to export ammonia. Another detail is procurement strategy. We do believe it's very important to think about structuring the project, especially all the large-scale projects we are talking here about, to think about, is it EPCM which is best? Is it partnering, and which partnering to use? That's also, of course, obviously a reason why we are here today, getting interested discussions with technology providers and off-takers and other partners, but also thinking about which kind of roadmaps to go with the sizing of the project. A little about economics, not a big surprise. Hydrogen production is the most important part after electrolyzer or after having the electricity. Also, no surprise is most impacting factor is WACC, so financing cost. And as such, it's really also needed that governments are involved and also take some governmental considerations in terms of how to finance the project like that. What we do see on the other side is a lot of projects like Hyphen and the South Chile project are really basing on wind because wind is good. But we don't expect really large cost reductions in wind to come. It's very different with solar and battery. We do see, like in the last decades or years, that 8-10% reduction on PV and battery is most likely to happen every year. So if we now say we can reach $50 for something, it's next year it's already 45, a year after it's 41. And as such, it's really a good potential and a good side to scale the project, but also very economically. Last but not least on that regard, again, for us it's important in the project that it's local rooted. It's really with the authorities, with the local authority, with the chief in discussions, with all the pros and cons about that. Also, it doesn't make it always easier in the discussion, having another party involved, but it's a sound basis in the country, for the country to start with, having a regional and a local startup, and then going abroad later on with larger scales. We are ready for the pre-feed to start. Now you see a brief sketch about how the structure might look like. You also are invited to visit at the stand, C114. It's next to the Namibian stand over there in the hall to discuss further details. Also important is we have already 2 wind masts up and running. They are measuring already for 6 months. And at least they are confirming wind quality is really good. And as such, the current strategy would be and is going with wind and solar PV as a hybrid solution. Most likely it's the wind which will be built immediately, and then it's a pure solar growth afterwards, depending on the final needs. And at the moment, the hybrid PV configuration can produce up to 1 million tons of ammonia, so around about 200,000 tons of hydrogen. Last but not least, to calculate all that stuff in the background to see what are the ideal mixes of technologies like PV wind, like tracker or fixed tilt systems. We have an in-house tool called Fichtner's H2 optimizer, which is sketched here, and we are able to replicate each and every system here. It's an optimization system here. We can consider economy of scales and other technical details to be as close as possible at real technical details as possible in that early stages and considerations. With that, again, thank you for being around. Please visit us at the stand if you have some questions. And also happy to take 1 or 2 questions. We have 2 minutes. And yeah, thank you.